excursión a Kilimanjaro Safari. Para su seguridad, permanezcan sentados y mantengan las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del vehículo. Incluye a sus niños. Gracias.
Make sure you slide all the way down to the left-hand side of your rope. And Jumbo friends, that means hello, so Mom Jumbo, hello everyone. And if your whole party does not comfortably fit into one row, you might be on that next truck, not too far behind me. But once everyone's seated, we will be just about ready to go.
Although, guys, you don't have to start.
Now you tell me.
Now our first friend's going to be on the right-hand side. That's an okapi. Okapi have dark brown fur, built a lot like horses are. But they have zebra-striped legs as well. And they're actually the closest living relative to the giraffe. They were discovered by us until 1901, though. Now Central African groups knew about them long before that. That's partly because they're only found in one nation in the entire world. That's the Democratic Republic of the Congo. No other nation on earth does the okapi naturally live. And their similarity to giraffes, usually you can see it in the males. Male okapis have those 2 points on the top of their heads like giraffes do. Those are called ossicones. But all okapi have the same bone structure in their skulls that giraffes do. And just like giraffes, they have a 16 to 18 inch tongue that they use to grab the leaves off of the trees with. And on top of this hill up here, there's a black rhino up there. He's kind of moving around up there, so we're going to have to keep watching that hill on the left to see him. And black rhinos are solitary animals, which means they don't like to socialize with other animals, even other rhinos. They prefer to be by themselves out there. So here they are up there on the, there he is up there. See him a little bit, at least in the back.
I wish it would focus.
And black rhinos weigh about 3,000 pounds. And all rhinos have pretty poor eyesight. The way that we as humans see during nighttime without any help from light is actually how rhinos see all the time. The animal is kind of orange, that's a bongo up there. And bongos are known as the ghosts of the forest because they hide way in the back in the shadiest spots they can find. And all bongos have horns, whether they're male or female. And that actually helps them to tear through parts of the forest where everything is really close together. This stuff on the left-hand side, the bongos will see a path where other animals will not see one, because they know they can use their horns to break branches and twigs and even vines that are too close. Now we are entering the Safi River. The river is usually inhabited by bird species. It's also inhabited by Florida birds like these on the right. Those white birds with the yellow beaks, those are egrets. They hang out in swampy areas in Florida called marshes. But it's also inhabited by the hippos. And I see a hippo down there on the left-hand side. She just went under the water though, so keep watching these waters down to the left. Yeah, she's to the left of that island down there. You can see her shadow a little bit. Now our actual African birds are on the left-hand side. Those are pink-backed pelicans. They get their name pink-backed because their feathers turn pink whenever it's mating season. And that's kind of like they're blushing out there because the more pink their feathers are, the more likely they are to attract a mate. And those guys get to choose when mating season is. They don't have a set schedule like most animals do. On our left-hand side, there's another hippo standing out on the land up here. She's on the other side of the railing though. So if you're on the right-hand side, lean over to see her.
Oh, look, a vulture.
Huge.
Now hippos usually don't stay out on the land for too long. They turn a bright pink or red color, kind of like they're getting sunburnt if they stay out on land too long.
It's an alligator.
That's just their body's defense mechanism against overheating. Down on our left-hand side, those are Nile crocodiles. Here in America, female alligators are 8 to 9 feet. Male alligators are 14 to 15 feet. These Nile crocodiles are 18 to 20 feet long. And Nile crocodiles only eat once every 7 to 9 days. Even out here on the reserve, we try to feed them more than that, they'll just stare at that food sitting next to them. But they are a more social species of crocodile. So even if they're laying on the land doing nothing all day, they prefer to lay next to each other doing nothing together. We are leaving the forest and the rivers back there behind. We're heading into the savanna ecosystem. And now most of the animals on your spotted guide, if you do see them, they're going to be out here in the savanna part of the reserve. We're going to spend most of our time out here as well. And the savanna is usually what people picture when they think of Africa, because it's wide open plains. Instead of bushes and trees that are close together, there's spaced out trees and tall grasses replacing the bushes. The animals out there, they need the space to move around. None of them have a permanent home, they just have spaces they like to occupy for a little while before they move somewhere else. Their packs, their herds, or their prides keep moving around, kind of in a circular motion, working together even if they don't realize it. Animals that graze around like wildebeest or antelope species, they eat the grass out there. Elephants, they bulldoze over the trees. Those fallen over trees, little tiny critters and bugs, they fill out those, of course. Get rid of those knocked over trees and logs out there. So protecting those reserves is one of the main efforts of conservation groups. That way the animals don't have to get too close to the cities. And even where there are cities, they'll be near the traffic, they just won't be in the traffic out there. Next friends are behind the cave. They're to the back right of the cave. Those are spotted hyenas. And spotted hyenas are a matriarchal society, which means the girls make all the rules for hyena packs. Even the lowest ranking female, she outranks the highest ranking of the males. And now male or female, hyenas are pretty talkative animals. They can make 11 different noises. One of those noises is laughter. If you've seen the Lion King, they can laugh kind of like that. Now on our left-hand side, those tiny guys are springbok. They're a gazelle kind of species. Now, if those little guys get nervous or scared, they can jump straight up in the air about 6 to 8 feet high from a standing position. Then they jump over and over again to get away from danger, which is where they get their spring name from. They jump like bunny rabbits, though. Like I said, they're only 3 feet tall. It's really impressive to see them jump that high. But if they run at their full speed and then they can jump 13 feet high in the air. There's another tiny little springbok or two down there on the left. And these guys are actually the national animal of South Africa. They're on football and rugby team jerseys as school mascots and things like that too.
It's pretty cool how they're roaming free in this whole area.
Up ahead of us, I see some giraffes down there. Giraffes are the tallest animals in the world, 18 to 20 feet tall, just like those crocodiles are long. There's some males down there on the right-hand side. Looks like they're bothering one of our animal programs trucks for some food. And there's a female or two that'll be up ahead of us on the left-hand side as well.
Look at the female, like you still have
Are those? No, those are little.
Oh, good. You only like number 80.
There's some more of those giraffes down the left-hand side.
Oh, they're fighting.
Wow, that thing is big.
Now way in the back left, there's two giraffes down there. They're hitting each other with their necks. That's a motion literally called necking. Now when two males do that, they're trying to assert dominance over the tower of giraffes, trying to figure out who's in charge of this group. But when a male and a female giraffe like that, they do that necking motion, that means they like each other quite a bit. Looks like this male giraffe wants to cross the road here,
That
so we're
thing
gonna stop
is
for him.
huge. That's big.
Those lashes, though. Oh, good.
I'm so sorry.
So,
He might be mad at us.
y'all come through here every day, it's disturbing me. I'm minding my own business.
He's like, I'm just gonna chill right here. And y'all can just chill right here with him.
Yeah.
He said, okay. He said, I'm done with you.
And there he goes, out of the road up there. Down on our right-hand side, there's a female giraffe. There's a lot of wildebeest out here as well. Wildebeest name translates to wild beast. They're a migrating animal. They travel about 500 to 1,000 miles when they move. Within 15 minutes of a baby wildebeest being born, it's called a calf. The calves can actually run and walk with the rest of the herd. And speaking of babies, on the left-hand side, these are mandrills. They're the largest monkey species in the world. And there is a baby mandrill. Hi, buddy. And those mandrills back there, they're the largest species of monkey. They only grow to be about 100 pounds each, though. The baby mandrill that's out there, it took us about 6 to 7 weeks to determine if it was a male or a female. Mom was being too protective of him. That was about a month ago now, though. And now we are crossing over the old bridge that goes around elephant territory. Looks like the elephants won't be out here so far.
You okay? It's gonna be alright, baby.
Now when the elephants do come back out, they get to cross over one of these bridges down here. We're going to be going underneath that newer bridge. One of them gets to cross over. The adult male African bull elephant, that's the largest male one. He weighs about 4 tons. This truck weighs just under 2 tons.
Dang.
Saw that bridge back there is really reinforced for him. And now even though we've been rerouted around the elephants where they usually are, somewhere down here there's a hidden Mickey as well on this side of the reserve. Now hidden Mickeys are all around the Disney parks around the entire world. They're in the shape of Mickey Mouse's face, of course. So let's see if you guys can find the one that's out here before I point it out to you, though. Well, you know, it looks like there's a female elephant down there after all. She's on the left-hand side. Looks like she's going to be one of the last ones amongst the herd to follow behind them. Elephants communicate with infrasonic sound. That's below the range of our hearing. So even though we can't hear them talking, they can talk to each other from about 5 miles away. They don't need to stand next to one another.
Going in the water.
There's that elephant down there to the left. Looks like she's carrying a branch as well. Like I said, elephants bulldoze over the trees out there. So she's got a souvenir. And the same chemical reaction that humans have in their brains when they look at puppies is actually the same chemical reaction that elephants have in their brains when they look at us. So they think we're pretty cute.
Aww.
Down on our left-hand side, those are greater flamingos. Flamingos are born a grayish color. They only turn pink from eating brine shrimp.
Thanks.
And if you're still looking for that hidden Mickey, look at that island the flamingos are standing on down to your left. That entire thing is one giant hidden Mickey all the way in the back of our reserve. Now, it's not the largest one in the world, but it's a pretty cool one to be all the way back here. The largest one in the world is just outside of Animal Kingdom that Disney created it as well. The new solar farm is actually going to be powering 2 of the Disney theme parks here in Florida by 2019. Now, those solar panels are so massive you can only see the whole thing from the skies, of course. Small Ted and Mickey, though, you can go to visit. It's over in Adventureland. That's in Magic Kingdom. Next time you go to ride the Magic Carpets, you might want to look out for that one out there. Now, up ahead of us on the left-hand side, these 2 animals that are brown and white are Bontebok. In the 19th century, there were only 17 to 22 Bontebok left in the wild. So those guys nearly went extinct.
That's
Into extinction, that
Bontebok.
is. Now, conservation efforts have brought their numbers back up to the thousands, thankfully. And they're actually a close relative to the wildebeest we saw earlier, even though they also look like antelopes or gazelle species. On our left-hand side, during the earlier parts of the day, is where the cheetahs hang out. Cheetahs are daytime hunters. There's one to the back left, actually. She's out here pretty late in the day. You have to turn around to see her now, though.
I thought I was hidden.
So they all sort of have a schedule for when they can go in. They all respond to certain sounds as well. Of course, I can't tell you which sounds those are, but they all have signature ones that they'll respond to. Now, the only ones we usually can't get to respond are the lions. And lions hit their prides on rocks like these ahead of us called Kopi rocks. Now, the cheetahs back there, they're daytime hunters. They even have black markings on their eyes that reflect the sun for them, like sunglasses. But the lions will sit their prides on rocks like these called Kopi rocks. And it's the same way in the wild as it is here on the reserve. They respond to the temperature outside. If it's too warm outside, they'll hide in the spaces in between the rocks to get shade for them. But once it's cool enough, or cool like it is all day today, they'll sit out on the rocks like these.
It's like a bullseye.
Yeah, I know, right?
Now, there's a rhino down to our right-hand side. We're going to loop around and see him again in just a second. But on the left-hand side, way in the back, there's those female and the male lions.
Kitty stretch. Kitty stretch.
It's getting really close to us up here. This shaggy guy is a water buck. Hey, buddy. Water buck drink a large amount of water every single day. And there's those male and the female lions as well.
Eyes are close like yours. Yeah, no. Didn't know people's eyes
The lions usually rest for 16 to 20 hours every single day. And at nighttime, the females, they're in charge of the majority of the hunting. They're finding all the food out there, they're bringing it home for the pride. The males, they're in charge of the little ones, that's lion cubs, male or female, day or night, they're always in charge of them. And there's usually only one dominant male in a pride. And there can be more than one, so usually only if they're related, it's like a brother or something like that. They won't take on new males to the herd, or to the pride. Down on our right-hand side, there's that white rhino we saw earlier. And there's some more of the water buck over here. White rhinos weigh 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. And a group of rhinos, when they all group together, is called a crash. They get that name from when they charge, of course. Also down on the right, there's some ostrich eggs down there by the tree on the right-hand side. Not sure where the ostrich have run off to, though. And when a rhino charges, they usually can run about 30 miles an hour at their top speed.
Fast.
And they're one of the few animals that gallop just like a horse does. That means once they pick up enough speed, rhinos can pick up all 4 of their feet off the ground. They catch a tiny bit of air before they return to the ground, though. But we are leaving the savannah, which means it's just about the end of our time out there on the reserve. Of course, if you want to see some more animals, you're more than welcome to ride another one of our safaris. 6:15 tonight is the absolute last time one of our trucks will go out. As long as you were in line a second before that, you are more than welcome to ride again. And to support these animals we saw out there in Africa and Asia as well, you can support the Disney Conservation Fund. The Conservation Fund matches dollar for dollar every single donation that is made, either here in Animal Kingdom, donating online, or any location where we have the Conservation Hero buttons. And those ostrich eggs we saw back there, ostrich eggs are usually about the size of 16 to 18 regular chicken eggs. But if you've been to our safari, you may have seen those eggs before. And coincidentally, they may have been in the exact same spot too. And that is because all of our ostrich out here are females. So none of them are going to become baby ostrich anytime soon. So to help our older birds, remind them not to lay more eggs, leave those eggs out there. And about 2 months ago, Frankie the white rhino, he's the largest one, he bulldozed through all those eggs. So if you've been here in the last month or two, they may look only slightly different because we have to put them all back together again. But that is officially the end of our time out there. Again, if you support the Disney Conservation Fund, you're helping out all those animals here in Africa, helping out the animals you can see over in Asia as well. And Asante Sana to you, my friends. That's a Swahili phrase that means thank you. Thank you not only for riding this safari, but for coming to Animal Kingdom as well. The Disney Conservation Fund, it covers the proceeds for your Animal Kingdom park tickets. So your park tickets are actually going to help those guys out there in Africa and Asia and other groups we support, not just our own fund. Now please double check your rows, don't want to leave anything behind out there. If you have any questions about the things we saw, things you may have seen on another safari, or things we didn't get a chance to see, feel free to come to the front. You can ask myself, or the warden who's going to be up here on my right hand side. Hold it.
Put your inside, watch step down.
I was curious to know when you drive.
Thank you, Prince.
When you drive across those chains, what is that? Why do
Those
they
are
have
the
that?
cattle guards down there. They make it uncomfortable for the animals to step on. Those cattle guards are electrocuted. Ours in between the resort though, they don't.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Perfect.